Now, the Bram Weinstein Show on Washington's new home for sports, ESPN 630.
Hey, baby. Hey, baby. Hey, baby.
That's a weird one.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I think I got to play this Brian Robinson clip first, now that I've heard it. So,
okay.
Warning. I think I actually want everybody to hear this now. This is... I'm just going to let it play. I don't even want to say it because it's amazing. If you're on social media, you will see this, and you maybe have heard this, but this is kind of brand spanking new. Breaking news.
Where am I getting this from?
Mike Garafolo. You said you had that clip.
Okay. Oh, I thought you were talking of Brian Robinson.
No.
Okay.
Brian Robinson
I was
went.
like, did he speak yet?
Brian Robinson went to the team facility today. He got released from the hospital. He did have surgery. He was shot multiple times in his leg. And then they described it as, it all looked good, and here he is at the facility.
Yeah.
There's no certainty of when he's going to play, so we'll put the timeline stuff aside. But wait until you hear this, okay? This is Mike Garafolo on NFL Network talking about what happened to him.
Brian Robinson, the Commanders running back, out of the hospital, doing relatively well considering what has happened the last couple of days for him. First of all, lucky to be alive. We have said that. We've made that clear. That's number one. Number two, sounds like he's very fortunate from a football standpoint with the impact of the bullet that hit him in the knee. Apparently missed all of the major parts of the knee. Ligaments, tendons, bone, went through his knee and somehow did not create massive damage. Now, the timeline for Brian Robinson is still TBD. He is on the active roster. Andrew, you talked about the Commanders already getting down to their 53-man roster. He's on the active roster. He was not placed on the non-football injury list or anything like that that would knock him out for the first 4 weeks. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be back within that window. It's just the Commanders, I am told, are keeping their options open with him. But there is the potential that he could be back sooner than a lot of people thought. Brian Robinson, very fortunate that he did not suffer massive damage in that knee when that bullet went through there.
That's the magic bullet.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's incredible.
His career could be, I agree with Mike. He's lucky to be alive.
Yeah,
he got carjacked or robbed or whatever by two crazy people with guns in the middle of the day. Gets shot because he tries to wrestle away a gun from one of them. That should have ruined his career.
Right.
At bare minimum.
Sure.
If it didn't kill him.
Right.
It should have ruined his career. And somehow he walked into the facility today because a bullet passed around his knee and didn't touch a vital part of it. Crazy. So he's very unlucky and very lucky all at the same time, because I would never wish whatever happened to him to ever happen on anybody. He got carjacked in the middle of the day. But if you're going to have, he had a Matrix moment with it. This is full on unbelievable.
Well, and not only that, the reports coming out that he wrestled the first guy away.
Well, the second guy shot him after he wrestled the gun away from the first guy.
Right. It's absurd.
It is absurd.
Of how optimistic it was right off the bat, and still, how everything is good for him.
As a father, I feel obliged to say, if someone comes up to you with a gun, just give them what they want. It's just material items. Don't make them shoot you.
Yeah.
And just let them leave. There's insurance for your car.
Yeah.
There's banks to cancel your bank cards and credit cards. You'll get it all back.
Yeah, of course.
It's not worth it.
Right.
He's very lucky today, and that's a crazy story. It's a crazy story.
Oh, it is. And I said this to you yesterday. I'm sure it is anybody's reaction to say, yes, take whatever you want, I don't care. I'm sure, though, it is different when it was a couple of 15, 16, 17-year-olds and you're this hulking dude and you're like, wait a minute. In the moment, in the moment, you don't know what's going to happen, but you're kind of like, I think I could do this.
There's part of me that wants, who knows if he'll tell the story or not.
Yeah.
Certainly he'll do press availability at some point, I would hope, and no time soon. And then people are going to ask him what happened, and I'd be interested to hear how detailed he gets about it.
Yeah.
Because it could have been, these two kids came up on me, and I'm like, what's wrong with you guys?
Sure.
And then tried to teach him a lesson, and then they weren't, and then all of a sudden one thing led to another, and I'm wrestling a gun out of his hands, the other guy shoots me.
Right.
Unbelievable.
That's insane.
As Mike mentioned, he was not designated anything yet. So it does, while I haven't heard from Ron Rivera yet about when he could play, which I have a very hard time believing is week 1, but, whatever, till I don't know. It does, they haven't moved him off the roster yet.
Yeah, right.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah,
they haven't moved him off the roster yet.
Yeah.
They don't have to, but he's taking up a roster spot. And I'm going to read some names to you of people that, might be able to help them in week 1 if they designate him. What they don't want to do, I guess, at least initially, is designate him, because if you do it, he has to miss at least 4 games. And I guess if they feel like it's actually possible that he would come back before that, maybe they feel like it's worth it to do this. There's this part of me that goes, not only was there physical trauma, there's got to be some mental trauma here. I don't mind this guy slow rolling back into the season a little bit for a lot of reasons. And if you put him, shelve him for a non-football injury list for 4 games, okay.
Right.
Let him heal up in a lot of ways, and that's okay. And I have a feeling that it may go that way unless he's the one walking in the building going, I want to play as soon as I can. So we'll see.
Sure.
We'll see.
Yeah, right.
All right, let's go through the players that were cut or designated today. There were 3 put on IR. Keith Ishmael, I'm not surprised by this. By late last week, he was practicing on the side, and then he was absent. Then he didn't play in the game against Baltimore. I think that they have been kind of through the offseason working towards other backup plans at center anyway. So this keeps him in the system for them. It does end his season, though. Yep. So we'll see where he lands come next year. Cornerback Josh Drayden got it, so we'll see if there's probably some kind of settlement with him.
Yep.
Tackle Willie Beavers gets put on it as well. Same thing. I'm assuming some kind of settlement. And maybe there is one for Ishmael, too, but it's possible because he's a draft pick of theirs that they'll try to play out another year and see where he is in the spring. So we'll see about that one. Here are the other players that were released. Let me just go through the ones that are of no surprise, and then I'll circle back to the ones that I guess are semi-surprising. Or, I guess were the ones that were on the block that we were waiting to see what would happen. Tackle Alex Akingbaloo. David Bada, who came to the international portal.
Yep.
It is pointed out that if they bring him back to the practice squad, it doesn't count against the practice squad because he's an international player. So they could bring him back, so we'll see. Kendall Blanton's the tight end. They just signed from the Rams because they had no bodies. He got cut. Reggie Bonifant did a very nice job for them, the running back, but there were too many running backs on this team, and there was almost no chance he was going to make it. He's out. Tyler Clark, defensive tackle. Wide receiver Matt Cole. Dropped that 2-point conversion. Been nice.
That didn't help.
Farrod Gardner, safety. Justin Hamilton is a veteran, but, they ran into numbers on the defensive line. Jake Hausman is the tight end. The other tight end they brought in because of bodies. He got cut today. Nolan Laufenberg's guard. Kyrick McGowan, who I know they liked a little bit, and I know why. He went to Northwestern, then he went to Georgia Tech. He's very smart, he's super smart. It's one of those super smarts.
Right.
And then he had these ridiculous, crazy stats at Georgia Tech. So I think they wanted to give him a run and see what happened as a wide receiver here. And maybe you'll remember early in the preseason, they let him return some kicks.
Yep.
So I think they were probably looking at him going, if he's a steal or then we'll slip him up on the practice squad or something. That may still happen with him. Mark and Michelle didn't make the team. Aaron Montero, who gets the tip of the cap for playing both guards in the Kansas City game, but ran into depth problems here.
Yep.
And this is actually a pretty good sign that they feel like the guys that they have behind the projected starters are okay if they're cutting him. I would think he's possible to end up on the practice squad.
Yep.
DeJuan Neal, who has an interesting story, he's a local. He grew up in a bay town south of Annapolis named Sandy Spring and played locally and then went to Shepherd College, and he's been at the USFL, the XFL. He's had one of those careers.
Got it.
So, and then he had a bad play in that Ravens game. He gave up one of those big long passes. Jacob Panashuk is out. John Toth, who is another backup center. So that's another good sign that they like what's going on with Roulier. Schweitzer could play center. It's possible they'd go in a different direction because they're kind of thin there all of a sudden, but they must have an idea.
And Toth played last year, right?
Toth ended up playing last year. He's the male model.
Yeah, that's right. The plus-size model.
He's the plus-size model who played last year because we were on center 8, by the time. And then Trey Walker was the guy who retired for one day, came back. They convinced him to come back. He's going to be on the practice squad. I'm pretty convinced of that. All right, so let's go to the names that were, I guess, mildly surprising. My man, William Bradley King, who I like a lot. I liked him last summer as a rookie. I thought he was ahead of Shakatoni initially as a rookie.
Right.
Got to play a little bit more than Shakatoni as the season progressed. This time around, we started to see the parts of the Shakatoni game that they like about him, which is he's got an incredible quick edge move. And it might be one-trick pony-ish, and it may not, but it worked a couple of times in the preseason. So William Bradley King, I have to imagine, ends up on the practice squad because they like him, and they ran out of spots.
Yep.
So I think he's a definitive candidate if he doesn't get picked up. But I like him a lot.
Got it.
Yeah. Corn Elder got cut. This is only interesting because Danny Johnson got cut. Mm-hmm. They're very thin at corner now.
Yep.
Danny Johnson, to me, even with the mistake he made in the Baltimore game, was a lock to make the team. Not because I think he's great, but because they don't have a lot of corners.
Right, exactly.
So those two being released says to me they're signing somebody.
Yep.
Maybe two people.
Yep. Ron Rivera did, when he was asked about that specifically, was like, we're obviously not finished yet. So
they're going to scour the cuts.
Yep.
There might even be a couple of people they saw that were out there. And there's going to be a veteran corner here.
Yep.
Maybe two.
Yeah, I would not be shocked. Yeah.
Yeah. And then with Corn Elder or potentially Danny Johnson, both feel like logical practice squad players for me if that ends up happening. Khalil Hudson is out. How do I feel about this one? I think he was undersized. Mm-hmm. I think they gave him a shot in the preseason to kind of be Landon Collins.
Yep.
It ended up going to Derek Forrest or Percy Butler, and he just became someone who didn't have a role.
Yeah.
So while they're thin at linebacker, and I could see where some people are like, I thought you guys are really thin at linebacker. They are. I didn't see much of a definitive role for him, so I was not surprised to see his name.
Yeah, I would say that too, that there's just not a spot for him.
No, that's all it is. Yeah. Not shockingly, because they have a lot of good receivers. Alex Erickson was cut today. I think if they could put him on the practice squad, they would, because he'd be like just a benefit to have something like that around. I would think it's possible he gets picked up by somebody because he's a veteran and clearly can play. So we'll see if he sticks around. That's a possibility, but I'm not surprised. He ran into numbers. Wes Martin is gone. They released him. They made a big deal of saying we didn't just bring him into play in the Ravens game, and now he's out. So I think it is another sign that they actually feel better about the group that has been injured throughout most of the preseason. And so they've just taken it easy with them, and they're going to unleash them against Jacksonville, which I think is a risky thing to do, but they kept everybody healthy. And Wes Martin not making the team says to me they actually feel good about what they have right now and that they're not as worried as I was. And
he's, I think, the first guy I saw that was everybody was saying if he passes through and nobody picks him up, he's practice squad.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, no doubt. Yeah. And then the last one, Stephen Parker. Oh, two more. Stephen Parker.
Yep.
Stephen Parker, I heard this from one of the coaches about a week ago because it started to come down to it's either going to be him or Jeremy Reeves.
Yep, right.
And then one of the people I was talking to said Parker may be a little better, maybe a little more physical, but they just love Reeves so much because of the way he plays and how prepared he is and how, football's such a big thing for him, and they just love him. They're like, the way it was put to me was, I can't figure out how he wouldn't be on this team.
Okay.
That said, Parker had a very good, aggressive preseason, clearly showed up wanting the job.
Yep.
And one of the sources I had talked to said, Stephen Parker goes through this every summer where his agent says, every year my guy works out for people, and every year I get the same thing at cutdown day. We love your guy. There's just no room for him. And he said he's just heard this over and over and over. We love your guy. There's just no room for him. He's another one I would put on the practice squad in a second if he doesn't end up getting picked up by somebody else, especially if there's going to be injuries, down the road. And the last one is, because of the Brian Robinson injury, they had to make a decision, at running back. They're not going to go in with just Gibson and McKissick for week one, and I'm going to work on the assumption that Robinson is not playing week one, Right. They had to keep an extra running back for sure, and they did what I thought they were going to do from the get-go, which was early in camp, Jonathan Williams runs like his hair's on fire, and I was advocating, and they did this in the last game. don't profile him.
Yep.
He'll get picked up if you cut him. Don't do it. Now, in the end, they had to keep somebody because of what happened with Robinson the other day. But all along, I'm sitting there going, it's going to be Robinson, Gibson, McKissick. They're probably not going to keep a fourth running back because they have other issues at tight end and other spots that need extra players. And I would argue even on defense, you might want to give them more people, frankly.
Right.
But don't show this guy because his career is turning around now and he looks like he's got some juice. So if you don't profile him, you might be able to get him to the practice squad, keep him under the radar. And against Baltimore, you'll notice he didn't have a single carry in that game.
Yeah,
and when I saw that, people were like, oh, he's going to get cut. I'm like, no, he's not. They don't want to show him in a game where he's going to get 20 carries. And if he rushes for 110 yards against the Ravens, someone's going to pick him up.
That's right. Yeah.
Little did they know what would happen Sunday night.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
But still... so they did exactly what I thought they were going to do, which was hide him.
Yeah.
Because I saw it early in camp, and I'm like, I would not put that guy on the field. Everyone's going to know.
Yeah, right.
Which means I think some people were surprised today to see Jarrett Patterson's name pop up. 1, local kid. 2, summer hero. 3, looked great in Baltimore the other day.
Right.
In fact, to me, looked better than he did last year by a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he's improved significantly. The drafting of Brian Robinson, for lack of a better term, screwed him where any chance to get on the roster from the get-go. He needed Jonathan Williams not to look like he did in camp to be the 4th on the list and definitively would have been on the team today. I hope they keep him here. He's a really nice kid. I actually think he's improved significantly. Not unlike Gibson, his body looks different. So he's one of those I'm rooting either way. I hope he gets a job somewhere else because I actually think he's got a lot of promise to him. And if he doesn't, I hope they put him on the practice squad because you want people like this around. And especially with the uncertainty of Robinson, I would want him in my hip pocket just in case something happens. So I know a lot of people were surprised because he played a lot the other day. He looked good the other day. He scored a couple touchdowns in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
He actually looks better. He's friends with Chase Young. He's local. I get it. And I totally get all that. I knew from the get-go just watching, I'm like, I'm keeping that guy Williams.
Yeah.
And I'm not even showcasing him because he looks like an NFL running back. And Patterson's got a lot of promise to him. And these are good things. Cutting Erickson and cutting Patterson only proves that your roster's deep.
That's right.
Those guys on just about any other team would probably make their teams.
Right.
Those are about the only two, that I would point to. Maybe William Bradley King. But all the rest of them, while I think Khalil Hudson will find a job somewhere else, while I think Stephen Parker probably will, Cornelder might. Those two, they could be on another team. And that's actually a good sign that you have some depth if you're cutting guys that probably I would think Erickson gets picked up, frankly. And if you watch Patterson closely enough, and I'm another team that's running back poor, I'd bring him in. But I hope he passes through so we can keep him because I assume he's going to be on the practice squad too.
No, you kind of always look at this one where, especially a guy that's local, you love to have him on your team. And if he goes on the practice squad, great. I would like to keep him around. But you also kind of root for him that he does go to one of those franchises where he's going to get a chance because when this backfield is healthy, he's the 4th running back, definitively. And it's hard to say that from years past, but he would not get on the field at all, even if he was on the roster. So I kind of hope he just goes somewhere where he's going to have a chance to play if he doesn't, come back on the practice squad.
2 young linebackers made the team, so that's Milo Eifler. I'm not surprised by him. I like his speed. And this guy, Dejon Harris. I still think that's a position. Let's watch.
Yeah.
If a good linebacker shows up, veteran linebacker that they think could play their system, I don't think they would hesitate for a second to bring in another linebacker. And it's clear as day they are not set at corner. Because by my count right now, the players on the team are William Jackson, Kendall Fuller, Benjamin St. Juste, Christian Holmes, and who?
Right.
I got to look.
Right. Exactly.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Well, that's not enough. That means you don't even have a nickel corner.
Yeah.
So, and I might be missing somebody, and I probably am, but they're picking somebody up.
Yeah.
They also currently have 27 players on offense and 23 on defense. That's too unbalanced. That's not going to happen. So they kept a couple of people for moves that are about to happen. And I don't know what those moves are, but I can almost guarantee you somebody's corner that just got cut today is going to be here tomorrow.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Maybe 2 of them.
I was say 2 corners and a linebacker seem to be in play, is what I think is realistic.
And I also think, too, like, even with the sign that they're basically signaling that they think their offensive line is okay, well, that's going to change, too, if a good guard shows up.
Oh, of course.
And then there's one other guy that made the team. It's Curtis Hodges, who's not even really healthy. He's a 5th tight end. Frankly, he'll be going to the practice squad the second they sign somebody else to bring them in here.
Yeah, of course.
So their roster's a little wacky right now, and it's going to change. It's going to be fluid over the next few days.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Okay.
Anyone you were surprised by? I don't think there's really any shockers here.
No, I was not surprised really at all, because we had said this at the beginning of camp. Like, this roster was pretty locked in. The tight end situation made things a little weird, but for the most part, I was not really shocked by anybody. If you want to say Danny Johnson, like, that might be...
It was the only because of how thin that position group is.
Right, but like, even as a shocker, I don't know. I wasn't going to be shocked if they kind of made a move there so they could get someone else. So, yeah, for me, no major move, major, surprises there. And the Jarrett Patterson one was, I don't think it was a shock, but I kind of saw it coming with just the way the running back room was looking.
Too many guys.
Yeah, right.
I saw it day one. I'm like, this Jonathan. I liked him last year when he played a little bit.
Yeah,
and
he got better as the season went on, I thought.
And like he his background is he played at Arkansas and he had like a 1,200-yard season.
Yeah.
Came back for his senior year, blew his knee out.
Right.
And his NFL career has been all about trying to get back to that level. But you could see it when you watch him. He looks like an NFL running back, and it is turning the corner now. And, if he is playing week 1 basically because Robinson can't, I don't know that he plays very much.
Right.
I'm still giving the ball to Gibson and McKissick before I'm giving it to him.
Yep.
But he's a hell of a backup. And I remember sitting there the whole time during camp going, don't profile him. He will get picked up. Don't profile him. You're going to want him on your practice squad. Don't profile him.
Yep.
And little you know, that Baltimore game came around, didn't get a single carry.
Right.
And I'm like, good job, Ron. Loved it. Thumbs up. Love that move. Tip of the cap to you on that one. Let them all think you're not going to keep them. Do it.
Guys.
All right.
I'm going to pass this along just because I would get to it in the update, but I think it's worth just mentioning within the show. Brian Robinson, there's a picture of him on the Commanders' Twitter account in the team facility. He was when he was officially there on crutches, but looks to be in good spirits and
crazy.
Just I'd say minor miracle, honestly.
If you missed it earlier, the report is he was shot in the knee, but the bullet went completely through without injuring a tendon, the bone, a ligament, none of it.
Went through and through.
Just went straight through.
Yeah, crazy.
Magic.
Really.
Magic.
Really it is.
All right, take a quick break. Bram, what's your show? ESPN 630 Sports Capital. Hey, welcome back. I want you to hear this story from Tom Verducci, who loves the Orioles now. Just loves the Orioles. Let me get this stat. They lost 110 games last year. They're a game and a half out of the playoffs now with 35 to go. They're fun to watch. Let's see. The last time, the last team to post a winning record the year after losing 110 games is the 1899 St. Louis Perfectos.
Okay. Perfectos, that's a name. Got it.
The Perfectos, though, unfortunately did not have 3 wild card slots that they could vie for. So even though they went 84-67, they finished 18 and a half games behind the Brooklyn Superbas.
Some names.
Perfectos, pretty good name.
Perfectos is pretty good, but it's also not. It's a little much there. You're never perfect in a game error-wise. Perfect games are really the rarest
It's a good
thing.
name, though, the Perfectos.
No, it is.
The Perfectos. Perfectos.
It's good. It wouldn't stand the test of time. So,
is there any Mitchell and Ness Perfectos uniforms out there anymore? No, they don't do that?
No, never heard of them, so no.
No? All right.
I would know if they exist.
How about the Brooklyn Superbas?
None of those either. None of those.
That's not even close to a word or a slang word. The Superbas?
It's probably, I don't know. I'm not even
You're
guess.
the Perfectos. We're the Superbas.
I'm not even going to guess on that one.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Verducci goes full Verducci, writing all this stuff down about Oriole Magic and scribbling things on a Boog's barbecue napkin. And why is this happening is the point of this. How in the world is this happening? And it's the most important thing that they've done in a long time that has beyond work to their advantage. And I do wonder if other teams are now going to do it now. The Orioles moved their left field wall back.
Yep.
26.5 feet.
Yep.
Almost doubled its height to 13 feet. So, all of a sudden, things changed there. And Baltimore lowered its home ERA from last year to 3.42, 10th best in baseball.
Yep.
Their overall strike rate is up this year. And the way Brandon Hyde, the manager, puts it is, our pitchers have confidence to throw the ball over the plate because they're not worried it's going to get taken out as often as it did in the past. And so this is an interesting dynamic. I can't imagine most teams would do this because it's a heck of an endeavor to switch the dimensions of your stadium. It also took seats out.
Yep.
But in the case of the Orioles, this is one of the strangest changes that's ever been made that will be one of the most important changes they've ever made to change the direction of their franchise. It's crazy.
On the 30th anniversary of what is a beloved ballpark. And, and if it's not the best modern one, it's going to be the best modern one in a couple years. Like, here's the other thing, too. I talked to you about this way earlier on in the offseason when this wall was being talked about, why they were doing it. Free agent pitchers weren't signing with them because of where the wall was.
Remember earlier this year, too, the Yankees got really mad and made fun of it?
The Orioles themselves got mad at it at certain games, too. But they had, and I know this, they had agents and pitchers saying, I'm not signing with you unless you pay me even more money than I'm worth because I know when I pitch here, my numbers are going to shoot up.
My ERA is going to suck.
It's going to be a home run in this park isn't a home run in 20 other ballparks or whatever it is. So the Orioles actually listening to what they were saying all right, fine, we'll do it. And it made their pitching better. So good for them.
This is what Hyde said about this. He goes, I definitely think it's given our pitchers the confidence to throw the ball more over the white of the plate. And I think we have better pitching this year, too. We have way more talented bullpen, and our rotation has done a better job, and we have better stuff in the bullpen. But the ballpark has allowed our guys to be more aggressive in the strike zone than before. And that was something we preached, and we talked a lot about this offseason. To pitch behind in the count, especially in our division, especially in this ballpark against the lineups we face, you're asking for a 6 ERA, which is what we had. Now we focus on getting the ball over the white of home plate, challenging hitters, understanding how important it is to work ahead of the count. He's basically saying the pitchers are going, now we don't feel like we're getting taken out constantly, especially to right-handed hitters.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's spot on. Yeah.
Let's see. Their defense has improved significantly,
they were the worst last year, I think, if not the second
Let's see. They've jumped from 24th in defensive runs saved to 9th. Said Hyde, Jorge Mateo playing Gold Glove defense at shortstop was not something we saw coming. So they got lucky there. And you have to get a little lucky in certain spots.
Yeah, of course.
Said the other thing they have is a plus outfielder in left field. He goes, we have Cedric Mullins in center, so we put Austin Hayes in left field, and we've got a huge advantage. We have guys who get the ball. I mean, that's everything. I mean, this was like one of the things I used to scream about with Michael A. Taylor here with the Nationals. I'm like, I get it. You don't love his average, but do you know how many runs that guy saves in a season? And then he would have these clutch moments, and you're like, come on, man. He should be. You pay him nothing. He should be on your team. Then they brought up the future Hall of Famer Adley Rutschman.
The future Hall of Famer.
Oh, he is.
I know.
He is.
It's not hyperbole.
You ever seen a catcher swing the bat like that?
No,
I haven't.
No, not at all. He also leads,
he's ridiculous.
I think he leads.
He's got the nicest swing in baseball. He's a catcher.
He leads the AL in WAR since he's gotten called up too.
Since he's been called up, they're 51-36. That's not a coincidence.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I mean, it's ridiculous. He's just the 10th AL rookie catcher ever with an OPS better than 800, and he's just getting started.
Yep, exactly.
They like this giant monster closer they got, Felix Bautista.
Huge,
6'5", 180.
The mountain.
Makes Melanie cry up there when she sees him.
Does not.
Bautista was released after throwing 38 2/3 pro innings by the Marlins because he had control issues, had a lot of walks. Nobody wanted him. He was out of baseball for 20 months. Thought about independent ball or going to Japan. The Orioles signed him in 2016. He grew to be 6'8", 280 pounds. Now he throws a 100-mile-an-hour pitch and a splitter.
Yep.
So they developed some guy.
Well, that's their whole thing.
They had a huge raw talent dude, and they're like, you know what? We stink right now. Take your time, buddy. Get better. And now the light bulb went off on this dude, and he's a monster.
I think you're even overshooting it. The Orioles just know what to tell their pitchers. What have we heard Austin Voth talk about since he went from the
But he's
Nats
been there
to
6 years.
No, for sure.
So they're
For
just
sure.
like, take your time.
No, for sure. But they figured out, okay, these are what you throw best, and that's what he throws. And that's the joke with that Orioles bullpen. They're all former castaways. Almost none of them are actually from the Orioles system. Like, yes, Bautista has been there for a while, but he wasn't touted to be the closer at any point, essentially. And they've just kind of put this ragtag group together that is one of the best bullpens in baseball.
Some of the people they bring around need to play well.
Yep.
They've got this pitcher, Jordan Lyles, who's only making $6 million. He's on his 7th team.
Yep.
He's having a great year for them.
Yep.
Rougned Odor makes $700,000 because the Rangers picked up most of the $12 million that was owed to him.
Yep. He's the team.
So they're paying him nothing.
He's the team leader. Like he's the captain. Like his stats aren't the best, but they're saying he's the glue guy essentially.
Then they're the new fun team. They're what the Nats were doing a few years ago with the dancing in the dugout and Eaton and Kendrick doing the cars, and Dozier takes his shirt off.
They're not quite that. But
No,
they're having fun.
Well, let's see. The Orioles lead the league in gimmicks, according to Verducci. They've got the home run swag chain.
Yeah.
The goggles sign
the
whenever
goggles,
a player
yep.
gets a hit,
Yep.
which is a nod to their love of Call of Duty, apparently.
Okay, didn't know that.
Player of the Game championship belt is presented after each win.
Okay.
The Robbie's Playlist T-shirt listing Robinson Chirinos' 12 favorite sayings. Number 7 is Feeling Sexy Today.
Ah, okay.
The Omar Little whistle from The Wire,
Yep.
which is the uber cool entrance song for Bautista.
Mm-hmm.
Hyde said this. About a month and a half into the season is when you started to notice all this, how loud and energetic our dugout had gotten.
Yeah. Yep.
And now, listen, we turned into a rave party. Everybody had to hug Strasburg.
Sure.
People did dances. Everybody had a routine. People were wearing weird sunglasses. Baby Shark was playing. It all was fun and games.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what these guys are, fun and games. I got to tell you, I think if they get in the playoffs, they're dangerous because when they're that loose and you have no expectations and you actually have, I know they're young, but dominant young players, they're dangerous. If they get through a wild card and get to a series, they're going to be annoying for somebody to have to play them.
The problem is their pitching's good.
And everybody's going to be rooting for them. They're like Cinderella.
No, of course, but the main...
They're Jacksonville State playing Kentucky in the NCAA tournament. That's what they are.
The main problem with them, though, is they don't have elite talent right now in terms of pitching.
Oh, I think this Rushman guy is. I think that Mullins, pitchers.
Pitching, they don't. And
so they can't win a 7-game series.
They might not win a 3-game series, and that's what the wild card is now. So that's the problem. If you'd have talked to me in a 1-game wild card, give me the O's all day long. They're gonna empty the tank.
The other team is going to be gripping it hard.
Yeah,
because they're they don't want to lose to them. They played this whole season. They're playing the plucky team that doesn't care if they lose, and then they lose to them.
But Mike Elias said it best around the deadline. He was like, "I think we can get to a wild card. I don't think we can win it." And he was very candid in saying that, and I have to agree with him. The pitching's good. It's nowhere near elite, which is what gets you through those games. That's how the Nats got through a couple years ago, or in 2019, where they had Scherzer, they had Strasburg, they had good closers. Corbin was really good. They had enough there that you thought, they've got a fighting chance in every single series. I don't see it with the Orioles. But that being said, who knows what happens when you get in the dance? But they have elite. That's the funny thing with the Orioles. They have elite pitching on the way that isn't even up on the team yet.
Yeah.
So, it's all coming to fruition for them.
The other thing they did was they traded Trey Mancini, and they made another trade, which typically would ruin any kind of run like this. And the quote from Hyde was nobody whined about it.
Yep. Right.
They're
exactly.
We knew it was coming. We knew it was happening. Nobody whined about it.
I also saw Tim Kirkjian say something along the lines of, for the Orioles, they were like, he said that the interest was so low in Mancini that basically he was always going to go to Houston, possibly the Mets, but then the Mets picked up that other guy, I think, from the Pirates. He was like, there was so little interest with him at the deadline, he wouldn't be shocked if the Orioles just re-signed him at a cheaper deal. Just saying, come back, we're going to need a roster spot for a bat.
Come on, man.
They might get their glue guy back. So,
all right.
Yeah, that's what Kirkjian said.
Let's see. The Orioles currently are 18th in runs scored and 13th in ERA, which is the weird part of how that they're even competing.
Yep.
So Hyde said this about that. If you look at our stats, you don't see that we're 7 games over 500. We're middle of the road pitching, middle to bottom hitting, and we can be better than that. And then basically Verducci says Oriole magic.
I mean, yeah, that's what it is.
There's there's a couple things that are fun. Well, there's three stages of fun. When the Capitals got Ovechkin, and then it became clear he was really good.
Yep.
And then it became clear they were going to get good.
Yeah.
Those first couple of years were fun because you just didn't even know what you were looking at. And then all of a sudden, they turned into this juggernaut offensive team,
Yep.
right? And they kind of, you could see the roadmap. It was happening.
Yeah.
The early part of it's fun because you kind of don't know what you don't know when you're watching it. Then you hit the point where, okay, the rubber has to meet the road. They're at this early stage where they're surprising people. And the surprising people part is sometimes more fun than even the championship teams.
Yeah.
The championship teams, like the best one is like what the Bengals did last year, where they shocked everybody and went really, really, really far. That's really unusual. Like the typical roadmap is, oh, these guys are actually pretty good. Oh, they actually get better. Now we put expectations on them because they've done it a couple of times and they either reach the potential or they don't. They're in the fun stage right now. Nobody expects them to win, but how can you not enjoy this?
Right.
I didn't expect them to be good. Nobody expected them to be good. Uh-oh.
Man, you hit the microphone and all of a sudden
I hit the microphone.
it's buzzing.
Calm down, microphone. Calm down.
I'll finish my thought real quick. I went to the Nats game on Sunday.
Listen to that.
There you go. You fixed it.
Look, I'm an engineer now. Pay me double.
I went to the Nats game the other day with on Sunday and saw Ben Raby, and Ben and I were talking about this as well. Those are the best memories you have because it's the first wave of it's happening.
Happening.
And when the Nats did this, it was the same thing. In 2011, they started to get really good at the end of the year, and you're like, all these guys are going to be back. They're going to have all these guys and an off season to get better. It's happening. And in 2012, they were the best team in baseball. They won 97 games or something. That first taste of it with the next era is always really fun. That's what's happening with them right now. And it's in that division, too, which is always going to be hard. So get used to it being really competitive.
Yep. All right, so Verducci's on board. There you go.
Not shocked.
Here you go, Tom. Tom likes a good story.
The Orioles are America's team. Everyone's gonna be rooting.
It'll be
for
fun
them.
in the playoffs.
If they make it.
If they make it, that's true.
They only have about 11% chance from
they're only a game and a half out, something like that.
They're 2 games back right now.
2 games back, but 2 of the teams ahead of them are Tampa Bay and Toronto, and they must be playing them this month coming up.
They're playing Toronto the last series of the year.
In fact, one of those games is at 4:00.
Yes, it is.
Which is going to be a day off for Uncle Brammy.
I think we've got tickets to that, a lot of tickets.
Do you?
One, I think we do. So
that could be a big day. Let's see how it plays out.
Right. That
could be a playoff game.
That's one where I don't know if we'll be giving those away because
we got to see if that's a playoff game.
Yeah, well,
that might be a playoff game, basically.
Correct.
We'll see.
Correct. So yeah, and I think I said this last time they played the Blue Jays.
Maybe Sarah will go to that.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, Sarah's husband is the pitching coach of the Blue Jays.
That's right.
Could be a playoff game at Camden Yards, hon, versus the Blue Jays. Might have to go to that.
Well,
how you feel about that, ex-girlfriend? How you like me on the gram now, ex-girlfriend? October, I'm wearing my orange. Playa.
Don't break.
All right, fine. Bram watch the show, ESPN 630 Sports Capital. From Bob Nightingale, USA Today. Phillies outfielder Kyle Schwarber is making it awfully tough for Paul Goldschmidt to win the Triple Crown. He hit his league-leading 36th home run. Goldschmidt leads the NL with a .335 batting average, 105 RBI, and 33 home runs. Just another person that used to be on my ex-girlfriend's team.
Get out of here with that one. That was a 1-year deal. Who cares?
Yeah. Okay.
I'll hear you out on the other one. That's one you shouldn't get worked up on.
Yeah, it was just one of her friends that I used to like hanging out with, and then she was just
gone.
They
were eliminated from playoff contention. They got something for him.
Just another person that my ex-girlfriend.
It was a 1-year deal. You were never in it for the long haul, buddy.
We had the greatest months of our lives together.
You had a nice summer fling. Nobody expects that to last past September.
Listen, I'm just upset.
Get over on that. Get over that one. You enjoyed it in the moment, and that's all that matters.
Just pointing
all
out,
that matters.
Just pointing out all the warts of my ex-girlfriend.
You were not thinking about September, buddy.
My ex-girlfriend is not Graham ready for sure. Bad summer.
Your ex-girlfriend or your sunglasses?
Yeah. Yeah, they don't like my sunglasses, but I don't like everything they've done.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
If you really want breaking Nats news, Anibal Sanchez changed his number back to 19 because Josh Bell got traded.
Don't care.
I also look at that and go, it's August 30th, buddy. Who cares?
I don't care. I can't believe you're allowed to do that.
I was actually shocked at that.
Other one that Bob wrote that I can't read all of because it's behind a paywall. USA Today.
Right.
Okay. Let's see. Padres owner has, quote, no regrets giving Fernando Tatis $340 million and states that being mad at him would be looking at it the wrong way.
That's a really,
mad at the use of PEDs, which he got caught for.
That's a real workaround and way to say I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
Yeah,
that's what that is.
I'm not mad at him per se. He's a young man who used steroids and said it was ringworm medication, which we know it isn't.
Right. To be fair, we didn't really get to it because I think we were doing a lot of Commanders. He did apologize, and his apology was.
He did apologize, and it was good. It was a very good.
I'm an idiot.
My bad.
Yeah, no, it was very much like, I'm an idiot. I'm really sorry. I'm an idiot. I'm really sorry again. I let everyone down. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. Like, he ate it for that one, and I'll give him at least that credit. But they're in a bad spot.
And I would think too, in his case, where I do wonder I don't know what his contract situation is. Could they void it? I think they probably would have. Actually, if they could.
I don't think they would.
You don't think so?
No, because, they're giving him a lot of money, but it is like a pretty good deal. Like, they're not paying him nearly.
Well, it's a good deal if he plays and doesn't spray his neck with ringworm medication that's actually anabolic steroids. Or take motorcycle rides and break your hand or whatever it is that he did.
Right.
It's a great deal if he actually plays baseball.
Right.
It's a terrible deal if he doesn't.
Right. Correct.
If I was this San Diego guy, now that we got Juan Soto, I would be like, void out of that deal. Let's give the money to him. Let's see if he'll take it. And even if he says no, say, fine, wait it out a couple of years and we'll give it to him then, or try to.
The problem is your best chance of winning is still with that guy on the team. So
he's not playing, is my point, and he's not playing for the next 80 games.
And you're not replacing him afterwards. You're better off riding it out.
I'd cut him. If I could, I'd void it.
That'd be a dumb decision.
I'd void it.
Dumb.
Not dumb. Void.
He's made a few mistakes. Like, I would not part ways with him.
Oh, so you're on Team Seidler of that's not the way to look at it. Yes. I'd be mad. I would be like,
you can be mad, but I wouldn't cut the player for nothing.
Yeah.
Void the contract? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Go play for the Mets. Have fun.
Somebody would actually trade something for that contract.
Oh, well, then I would do that then.
Okay.
Fine, I would do that.
What I'm getting at is he's still
Why
worth
would they
the money.
do that right now, though? They wouldn't.
No, they wouldn't, because
you're
not replacing him. So
this is Ben Simmons-ish. Until the guy is out there and actually playing again, how in the world do you convince yourself to trade anything of value for him?
It's more the Alabama wide receiver. You just need him to get back onto the field, and you actually will have a good player on your hands. We've seen he can do it.
Maybe.
No, he can play.
Well, right.
He's never showed he can.
That's the same thing with Ben Simmons. Oh, I know he can play. I've seen him do it,
but that's
which
different.
is why
he got.
It's why he. I know. But this guy.
Basket case.
Now,
Tatis Jr. is immature off the field. He can still.
People forget the part that Simmons got the extension because he could play.
Right.
He wasn't going to be an offensive juggernaut, but he was a defensive lockdown player, which is rare in the NBA. And was a really good offensive, not a great one, a good offensive player. Something went crazy on him.
Right. Tatis Jr. is dumb off the field. It's never affected him on the field, though. And once again, the Padres ain't winning that division with the Dodgers. You're better off holding on to the talent anyways. They got to remember their place in that division. So you have to hold on to him.
I would think, though, like, if you do somehow get out of this contract and you are willing to spend, then you will be back in the market to get the next person who makes a lot of money, and hopefully that person doesn't use ringworm medication on their sandwiches at lunch.
Maybe.
Okay?
Maybe. But
that's what I would want.
You still got him to sign the deal for a price that you liked, so you're better off holding on to him.
All right.
They've never won a World Series. They have to hold on to him. Like, you have to.
So I don't watch SportsCenter that much anymore, so maybe I'm just not in that circle. But, like, are people making a big deal that Aaron Judge hit his 50th home run? Because it's not even September yet. And back in the day, that would be like oh my God.
What are you doing, Bart and Hahn extension over here at the
Yeah,
55?
Bart. What do you think, Bart? I don't know, Han. Just asking. I'm asking the question because
baseball Twitter tweeted about it. I know you're not as prominent in that circle.
I'm not.
But no, it was a big deal when it happened. People reacted to it. I think it's because he was on pace, so everyone kind of knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Now, does he hit 10 more and hit 60? Then that's really where everyone starts going crazy, I think.
The only other person not on full steroids to do this was Roger Maris.
Right.
So if we still have the asterisk of those guys did it on drugs, and the pseudo record is still the one that when anabolic steroids didn't exist,
right?
He's on pace for that. And I don't see people going berserker for it. So I don't know.
No,
I'm not complaining about it. I'm just asking a question. Where are we in 2022 when a guy hits 50 home runs before September and people are like, that's nice?
No, people are paying attention to it. It's just you're not in the baseball circles, I think, enough to do that.
Okay.
I think the other one that
you're pumped about the A's being at the Nats tonight for the first time ever.
That's stat of the day, though. That's stat of the day.
Stat of the day? Yeah. The A's have never played here?
And at Nats Park. They played.
I would argue this is worse than that Kings-Wizards game I might go to. A's Nationals.
Don't sleep
here?
tonight. Don't sleep tonight.
There are people in Oakland going, there's no way I would ever go to see that A's Nationals game.
Don't sleep. Tonight is City Connect Hawaiian shirt giveaway. Okay? Tomorrow, dunk on it as much as you want. But tonight, great giveaway.
Tell the truth. Worst game to go to, A's Nationals or Wizards Kings?
Wizards Kings.
No, it's A's Nationals.
No, it's Wizards Kings.
No, there's 3 of these.
On back-to-back on the end of a 6-game West Coast road trip? I don't know, man. I think you underestimate that.
I'd like to take a Twitter poll on that if I had Twitter.
You don't like baseball as much as basketball, so this is a skewed
That's true.
poll. So
That's true.
I like baseball more than basketball.
But the premise is I know that Wizards Kings game isn't good. I'm aware it's not.
It's a second of a back-to-back on the West Coast.
End of a 6-game West Coast trip. I'm going to drive an hour and a half to go see it.
Oh, God.
Sacramento.
See, I'm just taking the Metro if I'm going.
Chris Miller and I are going to high five.
Have fun.
High five.
Have fun with that.
We high fiving.
To your Aaron Judge point too, a lot of people are wrapped up in the Albert Pujols stuff too. He's at 694, so he's got 6 to go to 700.
6 to try to get to that.
I think a lot of people are also.
They got to groove a couple to him, help him out, or what?
I said if he hits like
groove
3,
a couple.
I think if he's 3 away with like 2 weeks left, I think some pitcher's gonna just get one down the middle.
Let me see who they're playing.
Who the Cardinals?
When do they have the Reds or somebody like that? Like when do they play someone terrible that would? Yeah, there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-game set against Cincinnati in the middle of September.
Yep.
And then they end with 1, 2, 3, 6 against the Pirates.
Yep. They've also got a series.
Come on, Pittsburgh. Groove a couple of those late in the season.
Sleeping on the Cubs there, too. Wrigley Field is small, so he could get 1 or 2 for that series because there are home runs in that ballpark.
Yeah, but this is full-on Brett Favre Strahan. Wink, wink, we're going to get that sack record, aren't we?
Watch Wrigley. He'll get 2 at Wrigley, I bet, because he can just pop one out and it'll hit the.
Are they down with that? He's a Cardinal. Are they down with that?
Pujols kind of.
They don't care. New age.
All-time great. You don't really.
Fine.
You don't sleep on that.
Okay, I want to play what John Wall said, or at least I don't know when he said it, but there's a clip of an interview that he did.
They're home against the Cubs.
Oh,
so they're not at Wrigley. Sorry.
I like the Pittsburgh thing. 6 games against Pittsburgh. Come on, Pirates, groove a couple.
Bunch of Reds.
Yep.
Too.
All right, we'll hear what John Wall had to say, which was surprising.
Yep.
We'll hear that next. Bram Weinstein Show, ESPN 630, Sports Capital.